This is 3 News Daily.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Daily on this Thursday, December 14th. I'm Stephanie Haney. Thank you for being with us here in Northeast Ohio, where today we're watching a developing story. Ohio lawmakers have passed House Bill 68, which impacts LGBTQ+ kids. If signed by Governor Mike DeWine, the bill would make it illegal for healthcare professionals to provide gender-affirming care to transgender children. That includes performing gender reassignment surgery and prescribing cross-sex hormones or puberty-blocking drugs to minors. It would also prohibit transgender athletes from competing in girls' and women's school sports. Hundreds of people have testified against transgender bills this session of the General Assembly. Take a listen to lawmakers from both sides of the aisle.
Make laws just for the hundreds of people that come and testify. We make laws for over 11 million people.
I think Ohioans should be puzzled why they've not been listened to. They have told us twice in the past recent times, so many months, that they don't want the government interfering in their health care. And here we are again, not only interfering in their health care, we're usurping the ability of parents to make decisions for themselves.
The bill now heads to Governor DeWine's desk. We are told the governor is still reviewing the final bill. Now, in more legislative news, the debate continues over the sale of flavored cigarettes here in Ohio. The Ohio House just voted to override a veto from Governor Mike DeWine. It was earlier this year when DeWine vetoed legislation that would have blocked cities from creating bans on selling flavored tobacco products. DeWine wants cities to be able to put restrictions in place to help curb the use of flavored tobacco among teens. Right now, Columbus is set to put a ban in place next month, and other cities, including Cleveland, are considering a similar move. Speaking of Cleveland, here in Cleveland, police have arrested 2 people in connection to a house fire. They arrested a 27-year-old man and a 53-year-old woman related to a fire that broke out on West 58th Street. They were arrested at the scene. Right now, the exact charges are not clear, but luckily we can tell you no one was hurt in that fire. Now we have an update for you on the suspects accused of carjacking an Ohio State assistant football coach outside of Ginn Academy. This happened Monday while the coach was here on a recruiting trip. Prosecutors believe 2 of the 4 suspects are tied to other aggravated robberies. 3 of those robberies also happened on Monday. And prosecutors say they may be connected to other recent incidents. Staying in Cleveland, the city has just received a $2.3 million federal grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation. This is to be used to help improve roadways. The city says it plans to use the grant to focus on safety improvements along St. Clair Avenue and study several other high crash areas. Now in Cuyahoga County, officials have announced they're beginning work on developing a new child wellness campus. The campus will provide a safe location where youth who are awaiting placement with caretakers for them to begin to receive treatment. This is part of a partnership with the Centers. The Centers currently operates Cleveland Christian Home, which is an emergency child care facility in Cleveland. That facility will be expanded to develop the new campus, and the goal is to help children return safely to their families or another family-like setting. Officials say it's part of changing their strategy from child welfare to child wellness, including taking care of medical, mental health, behavioral health, and trauma-related issues.
We've struggled in this effort. It's an overwhelming number of kids who need our care. We've struggled to provide historically adequate and safe temporary housing for youth in crisis. We want to acknowledge that. But we also want to acknowledge with you, a team of partners, that we are now on a path to ensure that children in our care have a safe place to receive services while being nurtured and guided toward a path to stability and a promising future.
Now, if approved by the Cuyahoga County Board of Control, funding for the first phase of the project will focus on hiring and training staff and space planning. And finally today, hiking any part of the Appalachian Trail is a huge accomplishment on its own. Now, imagine doing it just months after a life-changing surgery. Our Lindsay Buckingham shares the story of a Northeast Ohio man who stayed the course to follow his dream.
Nature has always been a part of Stuart Smith's life. My first time ever backpacking on the Appalachian Trail was when I was 13 years old with a group of Boy Scouts.
The first time, but not the last. Over the next few decades, Stewart hiked different sections of the Appalachian Trail multiple times.
After I finished college, I actually was an Appalachian Trail through hiker and completed the whole trail from Georgia to Maine.
Stewart's impressive treks keep him motivated. He enjoys hikes with his family, wife Julie, and sons Kevin and Michael.
I think it's a woodpecker up there.
But it's when he's in the wilderness, like here on the Buckeye Trail in the penitentiary at Glen Reservation, he feels most at home.
The biggest thing is you're really living in the moment. You're really only thinking about this day and the next day.
Yeah.
That's what he had to do in spring of 2022, when after hiking a section of the Continental Divide Trail,
I couldn't walk up 2 steps without being completely winded.
chest pains stopped him in his tracks. It was enough to send Stewart to University Hospital's Harrington Heart and Vascular Institute.
Stewart has had a very specific type of heart failure. He has a condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
According to Stewart's cardiologist, Dr. Aaron Gorodeski, about 750,000 people in the U.S. are affected by it.
It can lead to heart rhythm problems and even lack of blood flow to the coronaries.
In April of 2023, Stewart underwent open heart surgery.
Once I got educated myself and I knew that the surgery had a high success rate, I never felt fear.
Though he did feel positive, he'd be okay.
The first day I got home from the hospital, I walked just under a mile. Second day home from the hospital, I walked just under a mile.
He was right.
Oh, Cardinal.
A lot of his symptoms disappeared. The trophy on the top was that he was able to go back to hiking, which honestly I wasn't sure that he was ever going to be able to do.
Just 6 months after his surgery, Stewart continued on a planned hike, a 7-day, 54-mile backpacking trip of the Appalachian Trail in Massachusetts.
My endurance was completely back to how I was like I never experienced the surgery or a heart condition.
Well, it really has been amazing how fast he's gotten back into the hiking, and of course I'm thrilled that he's doing so well.
You see the blue blaze on the tree? That tells you where the Buckeye Trail is.
With more big plans on the horizon, Stewart has a message for those curious about hitting the trail.
You know, you don't have to push it. You can go out there and just take your time.
Much like Stewart's journey, staying positive through the difficult paths can help you achieve anything.
There's always the longer challenge awaiting if you get into it.
Lindsay Buckingham.
This is the Rabbit Run Trail.
3 News.
Now, those big plans that Stewart talked about in the story, they include hiking through the last few states of the Appalachian Trail, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And you can read more about Stewart's many adventures with a link to his blog that we have on WKYC.com. What an incredible story. Thank you for that, Lindsay Buckingham. And thank you for being here with us for today's edition of 3 News Daily. Wherever you are watching or listening, we appreciate you. Thanks for being with us. Have a beautiful Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more of the top stories from around Northeast Ohio.